Good morning, sober friends and those who aren't sober. Welcome to the channel. Today's daily reflections for 30 August 2020, the only requirement. I'm Wayne and I'm an alcoholic. The only requirement, August 30th. At one time, every AA group had many membership rules. Everybody was scared witless that something or somebody would capsize that boat. The total list was a mile long. If all those rules had been in effect everywhere, nobody could have possibly joined AA at all. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 139 to 40. I'm grateful that the third tradition only requires of me a desire to stop drinking. I had been breaking promises for years. In the fellowship, I didn't have to make any promises. I didn't have to concentrate. It only required my attending one meeting in a foggy condition to know that I was home. I didn't have to pledge any undying love. Here, strangers hugged me. It gets better, they said, one day at a time. You can do it. They were no longer strangers, but caring friends. I asked God, and you can replace that with the higher power of your choice. For me, it's God, to help me to reach out to people desiring sobriety and to please keep me grateful. That is a very fitting one for today because I am truly grateful that I am a recovering alcoholic and that I have the privilege to know a lot of people in sobriety and to also know a lot of people who desire to stop drinking. For everybody, it's not an issue, drinking, that is. Not everybody is an alcoholic, and not everybody is searching to stop drinking because maybe they're not an alcoholic like me. For me, I'm not a normal drinker. There's no such thing. And to know that the only requirement that is necessary for me to attend an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting is the desire to stop drinking. It sounds very simple because it is. I know a lot of folks who do not want to go towards Alcoholics Anonymous because they believe it's a cult or they believe that it's an encircled group that has so many rules and stipulations that if you don't follow them, you'll be kicked out or you'll be ostracized. That is completely opposite of what the truth is. The third tradition states that the only requirement is a desire to stop drinking. And that's exactly all it is. And I am grateful that Alcoholics Anonymous had opened its doors to me because, I was drifting around for decades, empty and alone, and thinking that I was alone and that there was no possible way for me to stop drinking. When I went to AA, I walked in and the meeting was already ongoing, and so I just kind of sat down into a chair. And I remember one of the old timers, as someone with a long-term sobriety, looking at me and just gave me a small little head nod because I'm sure that they had never seen me there before. And when it was his turn to speak, the only thing he said is, "Welcome, friends. To be here, the only thing you need is the desire to stop drinking." And I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing that, I could feel him talking to me, and it's astounding that all I have to do is want to stop drinking. Because I had been to a lot of meetings where people who are already intoxicated, they came in and they were drunk and they were just sitting there trying to absorb something that they were searching for, that they probably didn't know they had already found, was a way to stop, was a way to start to live a recovery and live in sobriety, because something dragged them through the door. I remember something dragged me through the door, Now, albeit true, I had a mandate because I had a treatment alcohol treatment counselor a couple levels below that, where I had just failed a carbohydrate deficiency test, and she said, if you don't go to this AA meeting tonight, I'm going to file the paperwork. You're going to be kicked out of the program. And for me, that meant being kicked out of the U.S. Army, and that meant losing my retirement, and it also meant likely losing my family as well, because I had already done that before, lost my family, and already been on the brink. So I went to that meeting, and I remember hearing all these things, one day at a time, keep it simple, keep coming back, and all these slogans that I thought were total bullcrap. You know, they all turned out to be true in their own right. And one day at a time, you know, if I can work 24 hours at a time to stay in sobriety and to be sober today, 4.5 years later, that keeps me pretty daggone grateful. And if I'm able to talk to you guys every day and share the daily reflections of Alcoholics Anonymous with you, that makes me not only grateful, but it keeps me humble, and it keeps me in humility, to where I'm not a perfect person whatsoever, and I'm able to speak to you on a daily basis, regardless of how many people actually watch the video, and share the daily reflections and my thoughts about them with you. If you've gotten any value out of this video, hit that like button below. But, you know, moreover, there's no promises you have to make in Alcoholics Anonymous, not even to yourself. And I know that I am not a catalyst for Alcoholics Anonymous, but it is a program that saved my life. So maybe it can help you as well. I had damaged so many bridges and broken so many promises. It felt feeble for me to try to make another one. Oh, I'll be here tomorrow night. Oh, I promise I'm not going to drink anymore ever in my life. Those aren't promises I had to make. All I had to do was want to quit, want to stop, want to end the behavior that I was doing that had led me to nowhere, but actually upstairs to that meeting, which I'm forever grateful for. If you can relate to that, then you know what I'm talking about. Again, not everybody's an alcoholic like me, and not everybody needs certain support systems for them to put down the bottle. You know, I've told you guys before in the past, you know, my wife drinks. I mean, it's whatever. She's a normal drinker, in my opinion, and I can't label her anyway. It was like 2 weeks ago or something like that, where she had a drunk that she was not happy about, and she hasn't drank since. And to me, that's an identifier that maybe she's not an alcoholic, and, you know, she can drink like a normal person. Hell, if I could drink like a normal person, I would, but I can't. I have an enormous allergy, and I have to keep coming back, and I have to keep it simple, and I have to take it one day at a time. And I continually have a desire not to drink. So if this daily reflection, the only requirement, sticks out to you, and you are not sober, and you feel a little apprehensive about going to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, I urge you to go to the link below, alcoholicsanonymous.org. You can look up some meetings, and you can also just look up the daily reflections and have this for yourself, and perhaps you will lose that fear of the unknown and all the strange taboos that you may have heard about, and get well. You know, because we are sick as alcoholics, and we do have a disease, And the only requirement for membership to Alcoholics Anonymous is a desire to stop drinking. So it could be for you. That's all for this one. I'm going to see you tomorrow for 31 August 2020. And I hope you guys have a very awesome Sunday. Get out, enjoy yourselves. And if you haven't had a chance to check out yesterday's video, My Week Without a Drink Part 2, the card is above.